Hello everyone, Jak Syn here on behalf of Fiend.com and Future Daze, and today it is another exciting episode of Artist Interviews. Today, I am sitting with Dan Eachus of Neutron Dreams. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, Jack. Thank you very much.
It's good to have you on today, and I'm looking forward to finding out all of the awesome things you have going on and finding out more about you as an artist. So how is it where you're at right now? Like, what's the weather like? I mean, I see you're in your awesome home studio. I mean, this place looks pretty legit.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so it's an enclosed space. There's no windows or anything in here, so it's great for blocking the world out so that I can focus. But it's about 65 degrees. It's a little damp outside. I live in South Jersey, so right outside of Philadelphia. I could be at Philadelphia in about 10 minutes. But the winters are cold. The summers are brutal and humid. And, the only time it's really nice here in Jersey is the spring and the fall. Then you can actually relax and go outside and have fun. Unless you're going down to the infamous Jersey Shore, Atlantic City, Ocean City, stuff like that. Then you have the ocean breeze, but other than that, Jersey's really cold or really hot, one or the other.
Well, we make little jokes here in LA. We have two seasons, spring and summer. It's like hot and hotter. Right. So now that you're saying it's 65 degrees over there, I'm a little jealous because we're sitting over here in like 80 to 90 degree weather today. So I feel a little bit jealous. I want some of that 65 degree weather. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's 65 for like a good week, and that's it. I always joke around, we have two seasons here, summer and winter. That's it. You maybe get a spring and the fall in there, in about a week or so, and then that's it. Then it goes from 90 one day to 50 the next day. It's just crazy Jersey weather. And when it's hot, it's not just a mild hot. It's 98% humidity, where it's so thick you can walk outside and cut it with a knife, I spent a little time over the summer out west, out in the Midwest, up in the North Idaho area, which is just beautiful, beautiful rolling mountains and sunsets. It's just screaming inspiration, But it could be 100 degrees and there's no humidity, it was perfect. It was wonderful. And then I get off the plane coming home and it hits you like a wall. It's like, oh, I'm back in Jersey again, Yeah.
It's like that nice dry weather where you're just like, oh, it's hot. It's okay. I'm blowing in the breeze. It's all good. And then you come back to Jersey and you're just like, God, it's the humidity. I got to wring my shirt out. I get it. I mean, I know I've been to New York a couple of times, during like the hotter months, like in August and stuff like that. And I got to tell you, yeah, it was like wringing your shirt out in the middle of the day. It was that hot. So
yeah, that's a common occurrence here.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, hey, hats off to you for experiencing those hot summers with the humidity, and hats off to you for experiencing those really cold winters. I mean, I tell you, it makes somebody like me really, really appreciate, weather a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing because we can be spared some winters where we don't get any snow at all. And then you get those times where it's March, it's almost spring, and you're like, yes, here comes spring, here comes summer. And then you get a nor'easter come up the coast and then dump 2 feet on you. And then just as you get done shoveling out and it's now almost April, you get another nor'easter and dump another 2 feet of snow on you. It's like, okay, it's winter's last grasp. It doesn't want to old man winter doesn't want to let go. So, but yeah, we're used to it here in Jersey.
Well, hey, you know what? One of these days I'm going to go over there and check out Jersey and see what it's all about. Check it all out, see the Jersey Shore, all that kind of stuff, and hopefully see Philadelphia too. Definitely one of those places I want to check out too.
Yeah, come on down, man. I mean, I would love to host you. I mean, Philadelphia is a birthplace of our nation. It's full of history. And take you out to the Jersey Shore. I mean, it's it's the synthwave sun, but in reverse. You have to watch it rise instead of it set. And it's over the ocean. So, I mean, it's nice. And you just got to get used to that. And the boardwalk. There's lots of boardwalk. As far as the eye can see, that's what our shores are known for, is the boardwalk. But yeah, come on over. And there's not here in the Philadelphia area, but of course near New York and Brooklyn, everything. Huge support up there for the genre. Lots of guys up there that are tied in, artists, DJs, graphic designers, all up there. I'm sure they're all friends of yours. You probably know them by name as well. I can rattle them off, but yeah, Jersey's got a lot of support. Just I wish it was more here near Philly, you know.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? If you build it, they will come. You know
That's
what I mean?
right.
So right there, you know, you're doing your job, you're doing your due diligence right there where you're at.
That's right. Yeah, we actually started a little on Facebook. We did a Synthwave Philly group that people can go and join up with, and other people there. I started with Dennis Guerrero, part of Night Ride. Dennis is my next door neighbor. He lives a mile or two from my house, so we go to different shows here in Philly together and stuff like that. And it's a good time, and he's a good guy, and we're trying to grow the scene out here. So hopefully, you know, we can do that.
Which is always good, you know, just growing the scene, it helps, you know, it's like helping to build the scene where you're at. It really kind of helps connect a bunch of people that you didn't know were super big fans.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. No, that's definitely the key. And it's also, if we bring this area up as far as the genre is concerned, then other artists might be willing to tour here, come here, play here, you know, and then I don't have to go too far as a fan to go and experience these shows, you know. We were lucky to be blessed with the Midnight coming through. Timecop came through. Droid Bishop came through. So we've had some, you know, bigger acts come through. A lot of the smaller acts, they don't really come through this way, just because it's just not on the major stop. So, but hopefully one day we can change all that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So today we're going to ask you a couple of questions and see where it goes from here. Are you ready to get into it?
I'm ready.
What are 3 of your most memorable moments from your musical career?
Well, I would have to say the first one is getting that first song and first album done. That was pivotal. That was saying to myself and my bandmate at the time, hey, we can do this. You know, we made a song together, and then we put a couple more songs together. We're like, this is turning into something. You know, it's kind of like a little experiment. You know, could we get into this type of genre? And then lo and behold, boom, our first album was done. You know, it took about a year to produce, so it wasn't, you know, rush, go, 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 but it took a while to get done. And I was learning, he was learning, trying to get all it done, the ins and outs of playing with instruments, DAWs, mixing, mastering, what works, what doesn't work, and kind of learning as we went. But yeah, about a year we got Electric Conception done and out, and it actually did really well the first few months it was out, and then later on that year it kept growing. So it gave us inspiration to keep going. So I put that first album as definitely one of the key points. And then later on, after the first album, I went ahead and did an album on my own. My bandmate and I, we kind of went our separate ways. And I did an entire album on my own, just to kind of prove what I could do and just say whatever, I'm just going to produce it. Some of it's synthwave, some of it's very chill wave, some of it's more relaxed and trippy, some of it's ambient. I just wanted to flex my musical muscles and see what I could do. So getting that done and out there was kind of key. But then right after that, my second biggest thing I'd say would be playing live for the first time. So I played live for the first time in Brooklyn, January this year, before, you know, we knew about COVID and the big lockdowns and everything like that. And I had the opportunity to play with some really awesome people. So it was a label-sponsored event. So it was myself on the label and then Bunny X. So I played with Bunny X. I opened the show, so it was myself first. And I played by myself with my now bandmate, Chris Payne, cheering me on. He lives in Georgia, so we couldn't get together to play live, but he and I, we co-produced it all together, got it ready for me to play live, and then I went to the show and played it there, and was met with, you know, fellow fans and friends, and it was great. And Bunny X came after me, and then we had Power Rob and Dark Rob come on afterwards. That was just amazing. That was really good. Then after that, Faith in the Glitch, he finished it off. So Josh is a great friend of mine. So he just rocked the house. He brought the house down. He premiered his new album there, and it was a great show. We had a good turnout for a little tiny bar, hole in the wall kind of thing over in Brooklyn. So it was really good. And we were getting all geared up, ready to go for the next one. And then this whole virus thing that we are all going through right now. So that kind of put a hamper on things. And then the last item I would say was when I found out I was going to go to Neon, and I wanted to go to Neon real bad. I became part of the lineup, and COVID's again still rearing its ugly face, so we decided to do a live stream instead. So the Neon live stream event, that was awesome. I felt like I was on fire at that time. It was really, really, really inspirational for me, and I worked together to co-produce it again with my bandmate, so we were both on the screen at the same time playing, you know, for the live stream, and it worked out a lot better than I thought it was going to be, you know, and we went through it. It was great. And then all the artists involved, it was a whole day of playing and a whole day of music, and it was great. It was great. I look forward to doing something like that again. Looking forward to more, you know. So we'll see.
Definitely true, and those are some great memories right there. You know, it's like you will always remember your first. You know, your first release. You know, with your first album that you put out, because you poured a lot of heart and soul into those things. You know what I mean? You are showing that, you know, hey, I can put this out. I can add to this narrative. I can add to this wonderful genre that's giving me so much back. You know what I mean? Right. And then also like being able to do your first show too, and expose the fans and the people who came out to see these wonderful acts perform, getting them to, you know, being able to show them what you could do in a live setting as well. Exactly. I think for every artist out there, it's like that right there is the ultimate form of expression, you know, being able to get up there and showcase your talents to the rest of the world in the way that you know how, you know, and that right there, it really just helps propel you to new areas, you know, that you didn't expect to go down. And then also too, you know, I know with everything happening with COVID, it's like everything got kind of put on hold, but we as human beings have adapted very well with the live streams and everything like that.
Definitely,
we've been able to do so much with everything happening, like being able to showcase our creativity to not just people that came out to the show to see you, but to a whole entire world out there, because anyone can tune in, you know?
Right, right. And during that whole stream, it was co-streamed by a multitude of different YouTube channels. I mean, it was streamed live from Neon's channel in Rhode Island, but then it was also co-streamed by Nightride FM. It was co-streamed by RetroSynth, so and a few others, and it was great because we were pulling audience members from all the different fans of those channels, so they were all seeing it all at the same time, all at once, and it was truly a mark of engineering for just a whole bunch of, you know, synthwave YouTube people. You know, I thought it was really well done in the way that it kicked off. And I look forward to doing something like that again, especially if we're going to remain in this kind of, you know, way of life for a while, that we can't get back to, you know, the live shows and concerts and stuff like that. But, you know, and if I could add one more thing to the things I love this genre, because people, for the most part, are very approachable, very, very down to earth. You know, they're human beings. They're not some high-end pop star that only is seen going in and out of a limousine and on stage, and they don't want anything to do with anybody else. You know, that going back to that first album real quick, when I first got into it, the one artist that really struck me and just it made me want to produce the music more than anybody else is Timecop. And I fell in love with his, you know, dreamy, romantic, dreamwave style of doing music. And I styled that first album as kind of like a homage, you know, to Timecop. And then I got to meet him because he came here, and he was at a little dive bar, and it was out of place. And it was like the perfect opportunity for me, because I was like this huge fanboy, and I walk into this bar, and it's like, I'm looking around, I'm like, okay, I'm in a goth bar. I'm supposed to hear synthwave here? Okay. So I go in, pay my money, get my hand stamped, and I'm like, is this where the show is? Am I at the right place? Like, oh yeah, it's here. It starts, you know, in about an hour. So I'm like, okay. And I walk over to the area, and there's Jordy sitting there at a table, drinking a beer, all by himself, no one there. So I got to sit down and chat for at least a couple hours, interview style, kind of like you and I are right now, to Timecop, me and Timecop. I mean, it was beautiful, and we developed a, you know, before that we exchanged emails and stuff like that, and we developed a friendship online just through email. So he knew I was going to be there, and you know, it was great. We just continued the friendship from that show, and it was just amazing. And you know, he's been very open and honest, and he actually kind of held my hand a little bit, tips, tricks, you know, stuff like that. Him and Michael, you know, Michael, again, very, what I would say, high end in our genre, very approachable, very open. And again, would say, hey, Dan, you know, you could do this, you could do this. And it was just great. And that's what I love about this community. So I just thought I should add that in there, you know, because the people like that, and Joy Bishop, another one, again, strike me to my heart, to my soul. You know, the kind of music that they produce and the kind of human beings that they are inspires me to keep going and to do what I have to do to get my own music out there, you know, and take inspiration from what they're doing, yeah, and do my own thing. So,
and thank you for sharing that with us, because that is the great part about this genre, is that a lot of people are very accessible. A lot of people are very down to earth. A lot of people are, you know, very approachable. Yeah. And when you start to talk to them, you will find out, to everybody out there, you do find out that they're just people just like you and I. You know what I mean? They wake up every morning, they plant their feet firmly on the ground, and they get up and go, you know what, I'm going to do something today. I'm going to do something. I'm going to build something. I'm going to create, tinker with something. Doesn't matter. I am going to be creative in some way. The synthwave scene is very accessible, very approachable. A lot of great artists, a lot of talented artists as well, but they're real people. They're real people, and they will have real conversations with you. So to everybody out there, if you're feeling ever any nervous about meeting one of these artists when they're there at the venues or doing the performances or anything like that, don't be afraid. Just go up there and talk to them. And like another thing you touched on, like James Bowen right there from Droid Bishop, yeah. Another thing you were talking about, you know, that's the thing. It's like he's very approachable. He, you know, you walk up to him, have a conversation with him, and he firmly believes, you know, it's like if you're there, the fans are there, and they're there to see you, you should be there to talk with them and spend time with them and really just give them a memorable experience.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? I bought Jordy a couple of beers while I was there, and then, you know, I had the pleasure of seeing him again, and him and I planned a little something because one of my sons, he's a huge fan of the scene. He's like my biggest fan. He loves Jordy, and it was his birthday. And I knew I had a Timecop show, and I bought extra ticket. I'm going to take him to his first show because it was an under 21 type of situation. I'm like, okay, I can finally take my son. He was only 15. So I take him. We're standing in line in Philadelphia, and I'm standing in line, and who's next to me but Adam Carini. I'm standing next to Adam, and we're talking, and all of a sudden, Jordy comes up from behind me. Him and I stages all together. He comes up from behind me. He doesn't have his hat on, which his signature is his hat that he wears. He comes up, and he shakes my son's hand. And then he shakes my hand and says, hey, how you doing, buddy? I said, I'm doing well. And then my son looks at me. I'm like, who's that? I was like, hey, Jordy, put your hat on. and then my son is like, oh, my God. You know, he loses it completely because he's so, like, enthralled that this guy's talking to him, you know, because he's this awesome musician, and he's talking to a little 15-year-old boy. So, and that's what I love about all this. And when James came to town and played, oh, yeah. He knew I'm a big fan of his, and he played it up to me like I was like the biggest fan ever. It was great. I mean, he on stage, after the show, before the show, and that's what I love about this scene is that for the most part, they're awesome. Everybody.
You're definitely right. You were definitely right. Right there to a point, down to earth, very approachable, and that's what it's all about, you know?
Yes.
What would you say is your favorite musical release that you've worked on?
I had the pleasure of working with Jordy and working with my bandmate at the time, Ryan Leslie. He's a synthwave guitar cover player. His music is actually featured in the brand new FM84 release on the RetroWave. I worked together with Ryan, and I worked together with Jordy. And then I got my buddy Scott from Elevate the Sky work with me. and Mr. Michael Oakley worked with me, and we created a cover of Timecop's Tonight song. And that was like this huge mega collaboration because it was myself, Jordy, Michael, Scott, Ryan, all together on the same song. And it's one of my shining moments. I mean, here I am working with all these amazing musicians and put this song out. And it was great. I mean, it's it's one of my favorite songs. It was one of my favorite songs in the genre, period. So for me, it was an honor when Jordy said, yeah, go ahead. You want to make a remix or you do your own interpretation of that? Go right ahead. So that's what I did. I mean, I was thrilled that I had the opportunity to do it. And then the fact that we actually made it happen, that the dream I had actually came place. And I had, you know, Scott, this amazing singer, you know, him and I wrote the lyrics, he sang it. And then I had Michael involved with some of the mixing and mastering processes. Ryan's amazing guitar playing throughout. And then, you know, I added my own little flourishes and mixes and stuff throughout the entire thing, mixed it, mastered it, and then put it out there. And people loved it, which was just amazing. So that was then. And then now is actually something that's coming on the pipeline, the Blue Lagoon. So it's something that I am now firmly believing that's going to be the future of Neutron Dreams. My bandmate Chris and I, we've worked very, very hard on that. It was a labor of love and a little bit of head scratching and stuff like that. We're like, I don't know if this is going to work. You know, I don't know if we should be doing this. But then I was like, you know what? We tried other things. Let's try this. Let's see if this approach works. So we got all kinds of different elements, not only synthwave, but we have 80s inspiration, 90s inspiration, a little bit of Robert Miles inspiration there. God bless, you know, rest in peace, Robert Miles. His inspiration's in there. And we're putting together a new sound for Neutron Dreams. And going forward with that, the Blue Lagoon will be an EP being released where it is the same song, just remixed and interpreted in many different ways. And we're going to be putting that out there. I'm very, very proud of that release. There's still more coming. I'm not done yet. That's why it's still not released yet. There's still a few more things to do to it. But I believe that's probably my favorite song at the moment right now is the Blue Lagoon.
Well, everybody out there, from me to you guys, I've had a chance to check this thing out because Dan right here has sent me these songs. And I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed. These songs, these different interpretations of this song, The Blue Lagoon, it's got a lot of dynamics to it. It's got a lot of depth to it. It is pretty interesting when you check every version out of these songs because you can see the different attentions to detail that they have put into each one of these interpretations of this track. Now, the main track itself, The Blue Lagoon, very dynamic in a way. It has a lot of great elements. The sound is there. It's a strong song. It really is. But all the different interpretations that you did of it, I don't know if I could tell you which interpretations or how they sound, but I will tell you this, that they are very dynamic because I'm going to leave that for you guys to check out when it is released because I think you guys are really going to get a kick out of it. But I do want to direct this to you, Dan.
Yes, sir.
Kudos for you guys. Kudos to you guys for making a really diverse EP.
Yeah,
that really touches on different styles, which I think was really good.
Thank you, and hopefully it's the first of many. Like I said, it was an experiment, and we weren't sure if it was going to work or not. And then it started to come together, and it's like, we might have something here. And then started playing around with it more and more. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is definitely going direction. So we have that coming out. We have a special Halloween EP that's going to be also dropping this month for Halloween. I have to do some artwork for it, and then it'll get that out there. And we'll release on RetroSynth, and RetroSynth will push it like we do for, you know, all the different Halloween type stuff around nowadays. And there's more stuff in the works. We always got stuff cooking in the kitchen. You know, there's always multiple pots boiling at one time. It's just a matter of throwing pasta in that one, throwing chicken in that one. You know, we just got to keep it all together, and sometimes some get away from the cook, you know, so we just got to keep it.
That's true. Isn't that always true about artists? You know what I mean? It's like every time you're working, you have a lot of irons on the fire. But hey,
absolutely.
Just be, you know, it's like with everything you have going on, it's like we always find ourselves back to those things. We always make sure that we circle, even if we don't release it right now, we'll always circle back to it at some point. We will.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm excited to hear what you have coming very, very soon. I cannot wait till it's all released so I can hear it all of its awesome entirety, because I know it's going to be great. Excellent.
I really appreciate that.
What was the drive behind getting you into making music?
So one of them was, I've been playing since I was a kid. When I was a kid, my mom pushed me into band. You know, you got to do something, Dan, with, you know. And you know, whether it be, you know, art or music or whatever. But I was in the band in school, and yay, that was fun and everything. But I managed to learn how to play the trumpet, which was not too bad. I learned how to play the saxophone. That was hard, really hard. It's a shame that I forget all of it now. Otherwise, I would put it into, you know, synthwave. You know, I forget all of how to even pick it up or play the keys or anything. And then I learned percussion. I learned almost every kind of percussion instrument there was, and I played that in the band for many years. That was one thing. So it was kind of like already in my blood. The other one is my love for 80s and 90s music. I mean, I am a child of the 80s. I was born in 1979. I was a little kid throughout the 80s, and then a teenager throughout the 90s. So I had, you know, Lucky Charms for breakfast. I had G.I. Joes and the Smurfs and the Care Bears and everything on TV. Those are my Saturday morning cartoons. I had all that. You know, Transformers, G.I. Joes, Wheeled Warriors. I had those toys. So when I discovered the genre, I was like, wait a minute, why do I feel this sudden rush of my childhood coming in, you know? And that's kind of what drew me into it. And then I was a fan first, you know, listening, you know, going down the rabbit hole of the YouTube algorithm, you know, bringing me deeper and deeper into it. And I got started on it, for one, because I was a fan of Tron, the original Tron back in the 80s. And then I loved that new remake movie. So then I was putting that soundtrack into the algorithm, and it took me down a little bit of a rabbit hole of that soundtrack. And then I also loved, growing up, I watched Miami Vice with my parents. So I'm like, oh, I want to hear Crockett's theme. So I type in the YouTube algorithm, Crockett's theme. And I came across this artist of Kebu. Kebu, if I'm pronouncing his name right, he is an analog, pure analog electronic artist. And he did this amazing cover of Crockett's theme. And it's a joke in my house that when I'm buried, when I'm dead and gone, at my eulogy, at my funeral, I want Crockett's theme playing. That's what I want to be buried to. So, you know, I'm listening to that remix, and I'm like, okay. And then I downloaded an app on my phone that was Tron themed. It's called Pinout. And it's made by an artist, Douglas Holmquist. And Douglas made this electronic 80s Tron type theme. I'm like, what? This is awesome. So I went in there, and then I started further going down the rabbit hole, and I discovered this thing called Synthwave. I'm like, what is this? And I'm listening and listening. I'm like, I think I can do this. You know, I already had a DAW. I was, a quick tidbit, I was making music years ago as a video game modder. That was my real passion, was modding video games, PC video games. And I made, along with my current bandmate, Chris, we made all this music for this big mod for this PC game. So I was kind of already used to it. So I was like, I wonder if I can use this software to start making this stuff. And lo and behold, I started making music. So that kind of all came together, you know, making as a kid, you know, being a big fan of the 80s and 90s music. And then the fact that I just had a drive to, I had the tools, why not? You know, so then I tried it out, and I created the first song, and here we are, you know, so that's what happened.
Well, you know, right there, you know, you have these influences when you're younger. You know, I feel a lot of the same way as you do. It's like I was born in 1986, so I was born, 7 years after you, but I have a few memories of the 80s, like the tail end of the 80s, just like very little, like few things, but
Yeah.
like it was the 90s for me, you know what I mean? So it was
Oh,
like
yeah.
I just grew up all through the 90s. It was like experiencing Street Fighter 2 and like getting into like, all the Disney cartoons, Transformers, but I experienced it all, yes, in the next decade, but it's
Right.
like, it was like, growing up, like, Saturday morning cartoons, sitting there with Fruit Loops or Frosted Flakes, you know what I mean? Those kinds of things. It's like
All
those
those good
coming
sugary
on, yeah,
cereals, you
there's
know?
all those sugary cereals, and continuing on as you go into adult you, it's like you have this love for these nostalgic things, you know what I mean? Growing up with Super Nintendo, it's like playing
Right.
Mega Man X, all those kinds of wonderful things
Oh, Mega Man
and
X. Yes.
translating it into music as you get older. It's like it's now, me being in my 30s, and I can look back and now appreciate it a lot more than I did when I was younger. It's like because as you transition into a teenager, you kind of like, oh, I'm gonna find my own way. I'm gonna like discover my own rock music and things like that. But as you get older, you kind of go, you find that love for the things that came before when you were younger.
Exactly. Right.
And
Yeah.
then touching on what you were talking about when you're doing the music for the modding of games, you know what I mean? Like right there, it's like you're finding that you can tinker, and then you realize, hey, I can be creative. I can actually turn this stuff into actual, music that I can put out into the world and kind of contribute to the narrative. And yes,
Right.
when I'm feeling the same way you did when I found synthwave, I was just kind of going like, wow, this speaks to me. This speaks volumes to me. My first artist I ever got into, of course, was Future Cop. Future Cop, Mitch Murder, yes, Kavinsky a little bit, but it was
Yeah.
like mainly Future Cop and Mitch Murder, and Laserhawk, and it's fun to
Oh,
think
yeah.
about it now. It's like here it is 10 years later, a decade later. And it's really interesting to see how much it's exploded over the past 10 years, because as an early interview that I was talking to Michael Oakley, we made a direct correlation between that. It's talking about like, the music from 10 years ago was really heavily influenced by the 80s, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as it's progressed, it's blended a lot. It has came in contact with all different kinds of styles, so it's kind of created its own thing. But it's
Yes.
really great to see how much diversity it has, and how much it's grown over the past decade. So I'm just excited to see where it's going to continue to go as we keep progressing into the future.
Me too. I mean, as a producer, as a fan, as someone who consumes the music, I'm very interested to see where it's going. And that you talk about that blending, that's something that, my bandmate Chris and I, that's what we try to do. And we're trying to take our inspirations from both the 80s and the 90s, and blend them together and try to create something new. And again, yeah, synthwave become highly saturated. There's so many artists out there. Some are very good, some are still learning, but it's become a very saturated market where it's almost like, okay, you have to either have impeccable production or you have to do something different to be noticed and be expressed. So, and for us, yes, it's a thing of being noticed, but it's also something that we actually enjoy because, like I said, I was a kid in the 80s, I was a teenager in the 90s, and so was he. So we're trying to bring that all together. And it's turning out to make some really beautiful music, and I'm hoping that the fans think so as well.
Definitely right there, and it's like that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, it's all about experimenting. It's all about finding new ways to express yourself and going down avenues that you wouldn't normally go down.
Absolutely.
Because that's our job as artists, to
Yep.
break out of the mold, to try new things, to always constantly experiment. Because what works today may not work tomorrow, and what's not as popular today may be popular tomorrow. So you never know how it's going to go.
Exactly.
What are you looking forward to accomplishing the most moving forward?
Well, like all musicians, artists, whatever, to be able to put the music out there to the masses, have them enjoy it, and hopefully turn that into a success story. That's first and foremost. If I could do this full time as my career and passion, great, that'd be awesome. But I have a lot of mouths to feed, so I have to make a lot of money on music in order to be able to do that. No, that is, even if it doesn't make, you know, the tons of money, the fact that other people get to hear the creations that myself and my bandmates are all putting out together. You know, because, you know, Chris has his thing, I'm gonna have my thing. We work together to put our ideas out there. And we're working with other people too. We're gonna have a vocalist come in real soon. We're looking at working with other kinds of people. And recently we've kind of, don't want to call it a band, we call it a collective. So Neutron Dreams is a collective. And that's basically an open door policy. People can come and go as they please. No hurt feelings, no nothing. You want to come in and work on a track or two with us? Great. You want to go? Best of luck to you, and no problem, you know. So that's kind of how we're working things with that. But we want to try to just get the music out there, let people hear the creations. Another one would be, if everything goes back to normal, live shows again. That would be perfect, you know, getting in front of the live shows again. Like I said, I had the experience of having one live show. My heart was beating out of my chest the entire time I was doing it. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. The crowd was great. And I would love to be able to get back to doing that again, if we can get back to a normal way of life. But that would be definitely, you know, getting there on the way. And I think that could lead to more success. You know, album sales, merchandise, you know, T-shirts, stuff like that, posters. They kind of have like a physical thing, so people really want to see them up front, and then just go on Bandcamp and buy them. So that's, you know, I'm really looking forward to the live shows again, you know, because that would be great if we can start doing that.
Those are some good things to look forward to. You know, getting your music out to as many people as it can.
Yeah.
Getting it out to audiences you haven't tapped yet. Because that's the thing. It's like you have different fans. You always have a diverse collection of fans, because some fans like a certain album, some fans like another album. And that's
right.
the beauty of constantly creating and working with different artists, is that you're always going to put out something that's different, or something that, you know, you wouldn't, or it's something that you wouldn't normally experiment with, but it works in a way, you know. And as you progress throughout your career, you're going to look back on earlier things and go, you know what? I'm glad I did that. I'm really glad that I did that, because me at certain points in time probably wouldn't have thought that was the best idea. But now that I'm older, I can really appreciate it. I can really understand that, hey, by doing that, I did the right thing, you know. And but wanting to play shows is like, I cannot wait to get back to doing that again. Like, I cannot wait till we can do our San Junipero and Nightwave events again in a live setting. You know, it's like we miss that. You know, me and the guys, we miss being able to do that with everybody. But,
yeah, I mean, I miss going up to Brooklyn and watching Nightwave up there with the guys. You know, I mean. Yeah. I want to see Samuel Valentine up on stage, you know, doing his deal. I want to see Faith in the Glitch up on there doing his deal. You know, I miss that, you know, and then they would have other, you know, guest artists come by, but that was great. Yeah. Can't do that. I mean, it's from Brooklyn. It's about 2 hours from my house, you know, with traffic and everything, but it was great. And it was something to look forward to. And it helped grow the scene. That's why the scene is so popular up there. Yeah, synthwave music, I mean, just music as a whole, but synthwave especially, because it's still real underground. It needs that. It needs that live. It can't just live on YouTube and SoundCloud and Bandcamp, and it can't just live out there. People need to see it live. You know, that's all part of the genres, not just the music, but the aesthetics, the lighting, the people, you know, getting face to face, shaking hands with these artists, you know, it's what it's all about. And I miss it. I miss it deeply. So yeah, I'm hoping soon, real soon, we can get back to a normal way of doing things.
You're definitely right. And I know sooner rather than later, we will definitely be back to that. So everybody out there, you know, everybody out there, just be ready, be prepared, keep your ear to the ground, because things are changing and they're heading in the right direction, and it will happen sooner rather than later. This I do know. And hey, Nightwave, San Junipero events, and same thing right here with Neutron Dreams, everybody. Back to live performances. It will happen, and it will be awesome, because I cannot wait to see you in a live setting, because I think that's going to be amazing.
Me too. Me too. Can't wait to see you too.
What positive message would you give your fans out there?
Well, I would give the fans out there, fans of Neutron Dreams or just synthwave music in general, it's the same kind of messages that I give Chris Payne and I back and forth to each other. When he's not feeling that great, or I'm not feeling that great, or he's not feeling inspired, or I'm not feeling inspired, we say this to each other. And that's just never give up. Never surrender. Just keep going. Don't be negative. Be positive in everything you do and in all things, because this, this universe has a funny way of returning back to you what you put out there. So whether you're a religious person or a not religious person, whatever you believe in, the universe or God, it has a way of reflecting back to you what you put out there. So if you're going to constantly think negatively and you're going to spew negativity out, you're going to get that right back to you. But if you're positive and you're thinking, like I say, the cliche, think happy thoughts, it has a way of coming back to you and a way of uplifting you in a way that you can just keep going. And then just once you have that, be true to yourself. Don't imitate. Don't try to be like somebody else. Do your own thing. Make your own way. Whether it be if you're another artist, whether you're doing graphics, or music, or if you're just a fan, and you're just have your own daily life, your own job. Be you. Don't be anybody else. Don't try to imitate, because then you're not trying to be you. You're trying to be them. Don't be them. Be you. Do you. That's the best way I can say, because that's where you will lead to the success. We're all special in our own way. We're all different in our own way for a good reason. We all have our own gifts to bring to everybody else on this planet. If you're being somebody else, you can't use your gifts. Use your gifts. Put them forward, and the world will repay you for it.
You're definitely right. Wise words right here, everybody, from Dan. Never give up. Always continue creating. Always keep pouring your heart and soul into everything that you do. Stay true to your convictions as well. You know what I mean? Stick to your guns on things. Always, always push. Always push and never settle. Because life is not about playing it safe. Life is about taking chances. Life is about exploring, going down roads that you wouldn't normally go down. And every single day, things change, things happen. We have seen this firsthand with the state of the world that we are living in. So live it up as much as you can. Live it up as much as you can, and always try to pack everything that you can into each single day. Because when you do, and when you create, and when you make the most of every situation that you have before you, you will go some amazing places when you open yourself up to the world and its possibilities out there. Thank you so much, Dan, for taking the time to sit down and do this interview today. Thank you to everybody who tuned in to watch us have this conversation. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe to our Fiend YouTube channel, as we have many more awesome artist interviews on the way, just like this one with Dan from Neutron Dreams. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon.
Thank you, Jack.
Everybody out there, be sure to check out Neutron Dreams and all of the amazing things that Dan has created and all the amazing things that he has coming very, very soon, such as the Blue Lagoon coming out very, very soon, which I think you guys are really going to enjoy a lot of. So from me to you, see you guys soon.
Goodbye, everybody.